Hi and welcome to the 31st episode of the This is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law, I'm the founder of This is Reportage, and I'm a wedding photographer too. It's an absolute pleasure to bring you David Ryan today. Based in Ireland, David has been in our top 30 photographers worldwide for both 2019 and 2018, and I found it so incredibly interesting talking to him. Stick with us today as David shares all about why he classes himself as an introvert and how that works with shooting weddings, the story of why he posted a specific email from a bride, how honesty is core to him, why he started his best of 2019 post with the words, "My wedding photos are rubbish," slow shutter shots and taking risks, why he tapes over the logos on his cameras, and so much more. Hey David, how you doing?
Alan, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Oh, thanks for being on here. It's awesome to talk to you and hear your voice. Yeah, how's things with you?
I'm very nervous. I feel like I'm on a blind date and she's late and I'm sitting at the bar and very, very nervous. But even more nervous than before I start a wedding. So that's pretty bad.
Oh man. Oh no, yeah. But I get that, and I get nervous about these as well. It's really silly, isn't it? We're just talking, but I feel nervous. It's a strange thing.
Yeah, it's good to admit it, I think, always. Some people don't admit it all the time, but yeah, I'm nervous. But as we get into it, I should be okay. We'll see how it goes anyway.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. Yeah, how's things with you? Because are you near Dublin? Do you live near Dublin? Do you?
Yeah, I'm 25 miles southwest of Dublin, living pretty much in the heartland of horse racing country. So,
okay, cool.
I've three horse racing tracks within 10 miles of me. That'll tell you, and surrounded by stud farms here. So it's the heartland of horse racing in Ireland. This is the Curragh Racecourse is right beside me here. So yeah, smack bang in the middle of horse racing country.
Oh, cool. Are you into your horses?
I won't ride a horse, but I know loads of people in that world, and that's sort of what got me into wedding photography in a way. That world did, but that's another story we can touch on as we go along. But I know a lot of people within that world. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you know, I've never properly been on a horse. I tried to get on a horse once when I was young, and I tried to get up on it, and I just fell off the other side. So I've not tried to get back up on the horse, as they say. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen too many bad accidents on horses, so I would never ever get up on one. But yeah, I love that world, but I won't ride a horse. There you go.
Okay, I think that's wise. When my daughter grows up, I want to put her off horses. I don't want to get into horses. It just seems too dangerous.
Yeah.
So how's things? What's the Irish scene at the moment in terms of Corona and stuff? How has it been affecting you? What's the lay of the land?
Well, we're pretty locked down here. I think we're more locked down than you are in the UK. Our government have taken a very strong point of view here, and we're pretty locked down. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm loving it. Yeah. Now, but I'm also hating it too because I'm minding the kids. Right. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 6, I'm minding the kids, and that is pretty tough. But all the other stuff, I quite like it. The social distancing, all that sort of stuff, I'm enjoying it. Bit of an introvert I am, so it sort of suits me, suits my personality. And every night when I stop finishing minding the kids, I head out my bike and I go for a spin to clear the head. So I'm loving it more than I'm hating it. So there you go. That's where we are at the moment.
Well, that's good. That's good. And yeah, I'm enjoying parts of it, definitely, for sure, as well. It's funny you mentioned there about being an introvert. How is it at weddings then? Because there's so many people there. You know, how do you find it? I just find it very interesting because I think I'm introverted as well. I mean, how do you find it?
Here you are doing an interview, loads of interviews. You call yourself an introvert. I think I probably could call ourselves introverted extroverts. I like my own space. I like reading. I like doing my own thing. I like being on my own. I love my own company. But I go into a wedding and I can change. I do love people, but I also love being away from them. So a typical wedding for me, I go in, I have no problems integrating with people and winning trust with people. I often end up, I suppose, in weddings talking to our lads and our ones about the old days and history and stuff like that. So yeah, I've no problems going into a wedding. It does not faze me. But the minute the wedding is over, I love getting back into the car on my own and having a cup of coffee on the way home. And I enjoy that space. So it is weird. It's very, very strange. I suppose it's like a musician going up to play in front of 10,000 people, and they can be introverts too. And the minute they get off stage, they can go back into their own personal space. So that's what I'm like a little bit. And I enjoy my own space. Really do.
That's cool. That's a good analogy, I think, of a musician as well, actually. Yeah, I'm like you. I mean, I enjoy getting into the car as well and having a cappuccino and a McDonald's on the drive home. Do you have a McDonald's on the drive home?
No. I think you mentioned that one day in one of your podcasts. And I was there. How does he eat that stuff?
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good.
What do I do on the way home? Sometimes I listen to your podcasts on the way home because I rarely get time to listen to them when I'm minding kids and stuff like that. So yeah, often on the way home from a wedding, I could listen to one of your podcasts. I've done a lot of them on the way home from a wedding. Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Good. I don't put you to sleep then. That's good. In the wheel.
It's the only free time I get when driving the car.
That's cool. Yeah. So the homeschooling. How old are your kids?
2 under 5. So there's no homeschooling. Okay. It's more managing. Right. Managing the madness is what I call it. We had I had a mad day today with them. But anyway, part of it's my problem too. I'm probably crap at doing the father stuff, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. So hopefully tomorrow will be a good day. But it's more about entertainment and just managing the madness. That's all. Right. Yeah, it's the hardest part. It's the hardest part of this COVID thing.
2 under 5 is tough, man. As it is, that's tough.
And Daddy's 50, so I started late. I think that might not be playing against me at the moment as well. I think I might be too old for all this, but we'll see.
That's funny. Cool. I'd like to. I've got to talk about. There's a quote you put on your business Facebook page a while ago. There's a quote from a bride.
I knew you were going to touch on this.
Yeah, but I have to because it's so cool. So I just want to say it was a quote from a bride who didn't book you, and you posted it on your Facebook business page. And the quote was, "So we love your style and the idea of the documentary, and we wanted this for our wedding. But the more we looked at your photos, the more John started to not like the way people looked in them. He said that people look ugly. He thinks people should look beautiful on their wedding day." First of all, that's such a cool, that's such a great quote. It's also so brave posting it, I think, and just so interesting. A lot of photographers wouldn't, but can you talk to us about that?
Wouldn't be brave for me to post it. I have no problems posting stuff like that. It's one thing I always do. Maybe if you ask me, how do I market myself? I market myself in a very honest way, and that was a real email, and I thought it was fantastic. And the minute I saw it, I said, I'm going to save this for a week. And I'll post in a week's time. And I changed the names, obviously, but it got great response. And I wasn't looking for a response. I don't chase likes and all that sort of stuff. But I think it shows people I'm human. I can laugh at myself. I can laugh at myself all the time. And it also proves that not everyone gets what I do. And not everyone is my client. And that's not a bad thing, because if you book somebody like that, it's not going to work out. You know that, and I know that.
Oh, yeah. So true. Definitely. But what I find so interesting, though, and I just think it's awesome, it is honest, but just a lot of photographers they'd want to post something like that, but they'd be so nervous and scared. I mean, have you always been like that in your marketing then, just putting out exactly who you are? Yeah,
I've always been like that, Alan. I wouldn't call myself a sheep. I've always done my own thing since I was a kid. I would have always been, even in school, quite vocal, even though I call myself an introvert. I would have been academic, but I would have been quite vocal as well in school. And I would never be afraid to talk up for myself. I'm never afraid to express my own opinions. And I'm never afraid to laugh at myself. And that's why I posted. I think it's great. I loved it. It's gold. It's gold. And most people would never post that. Definitely
no, they wouldn't. But it's cool as well. It is laughing at yourself. But it's also, there's an element of, so a lot of people do look at documentary wedding photography in that, people don't always look their best, do they? But people, when we're capturing real emotions, naturally people don't look great. It's just a part of capturing the realness of the day. Yeah,
I suppose I look at my work and I hate it most of the times, but I do know that I go into a wedding and I do get where she's coming from when she sent that email. I take loads of pictures of people smoking and stuff. I chase down really gritty images that a wedding photographer sometimes wouldn't ordinarily put on a blog. I'm not afraid to do that. That's who I am. I often call myself a street photographer that shoots weddings. That's really what I am. And I'm definitely not everyone's cup of tea. I know that.
It's good. It's good though, isn't it? Not to be everyone's cup of tea. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's just me. I like being me. I don't want to be anyone else, Alan. I just want to be me.
That's so cool.
I've always wanted to be me, and not in an arrogant way. That's who I am.
No, that's great. It is who you are. And a lot of people aspire to that. People want to be themselves, but a lot of people just don't have confidence to be themselves, really.
Yeah. I think it comes with age. I turned 50 last year, but as I said, I've always been like this. But I think with age, I've really just, I don't care anymore. There's a great email. I'll put that up on my Facebook page, and so what? What's the worst? What's the worst going to happen? Nothing.
That's so true. Yeah, that's so true. And you had messages in the comments there from your past couples as well, saying how amazingly you captured their day and captured the real emotions of it. So yeah, it was awesome, man. Cool.
Yeah, but all my couples are always a little bit quirky anyway, so they'll get what I was up to. They'll smile at that and they'll enjoy it too, along with me.
That's cool. I was going to say, you mentioned just though there that I think you just said then that you don't like or you hate quite a lot of your images, and you start your best of 2019 post with the phrase, "My wedding photos are rubbish." Yeah. Do you really not like your imagery?
Yes. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm useless at technology, and the other day on Saturday, I had some time on my own, and I created a new catalog on Lightroom. Hadn't a clue how to do it because I'm useless. And I put in all my favorite photographs, which were all sort of starred and marked and whatever, from all the time I started since I started doing wedding photography. And I looked at them and I went, oh God, they're rubbish. I just saw them together and I just hated them. And I just said, oh, feck this, and got out on the bike for a spin. I can't look at them anymore. And yeah, I do feel like that a lot. Yeah.
Man, well, even your kind of best ofs, because I know when I'm culling a wedding, I think, oh man, I'm the worst photographer in the world. But then, once I put my preset on and they're into Lightroom, I think it's okay. I can kind of do this. But yeah, even like your best of images, you're not happy with?
No, not really. I look at them and I sort of go, and then every year I look back sometimes at the best of the year before and the year before. I do see that I evolve. I'm definitely evolving. I change every year, and that's a good thing in my head. I'm happy with that. But for example, say I did a wedding and I edited it and then I blogged it on my site. And I go, oh yeah, I'm happy with that. That's grand. And 2 hours later, I go, no, I hate that.
Oh man.
and that's just me. But maybe that's what keeps me going. I do enjoy what I do. I love what I do. And don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of low self-esteem, always questioning myself and what am I doing. And it happens during weddings too. The emotional graph is all over the place during a wedding. No one knows it, only me, just me.
It seems funny for me hearing, I've never met you or spoke to you before, but it feels funny for me hearing you say you're kind of questioning yourself, and then on the other hand, you're so confident in kind of who you are and your approach and everything. So it's kind of in a battle.
I did tell you earlier on, I'm a bit of an oddball, and I know I'm a bit of an oddball, and maybe that's why I take the pictures I take. And look, I'm a very pure documentary photographer that loves what he does. Bit of an oddball, and I lack confidence. That's me.
Man, you don't sound it though, honestly. You don't, which is it's cool. Well, thank you for coming on and talking to me for this. Anyway, it's awesome. It's nice.
You're lucky. Yeah, you're lucky you have me here with the nerves. But anyway, we're doing okay at the moment.
This is great. Really great. Really great. So I read that it'd be interesting to come, just hear about your backstory a bit. I read that you came from an artistic family. Can you tell us a bit about the young David growing up? How you got into this photography lark?
Yeah, I came from an artistic family. All 3 siblings, we all went to art college. Dad's a civil engineer, which is totally different from art, but he has artistic blood within him. He's good at art, but he nurtured that as we were growing up. So yeah, it must have been in the DNA because all 3 of us went to art college. Dad loved cameras. I was surrounded by cameras when we were kids growing up. He stills, many still cameras, Pentax, Super 8 movie cameras every now and again. And he had loads and loads of books on photography around the house. So, if you ask me, are you surprised you're a photographer? No, I'm not. Not in the slightest. It's no accident I'm here and doing what I'm doing and doing it the way I do it. And my love of photojournalism is no surprise to me. A little backstory. Dad had a load of books in his library. There was a whole series of books. I think Time Life magazine or something. He bought them from them, and there was about 20 in the series of all photography. I think it's 1972 we're going back to.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And there was one book I always kept taking out of the book of 20. It was the Book of Photojournalism. As a child, I remember opening this book continually And one picture in particular always caught my eye. And I don't know if you're aware of the picture or familiar with it. It's called the Despondent Divorcee, photograph taken at the Genesee Hotel of a lady called Mary Miller committing suicide. And it was caught.
Gosh. No, I don't know.
And it was caught by a photographer called Russell Sorge in 1942.
Wow. Literally killing herself.
Yeah, she jumped from, he was taking a walk home. He worked for the Buffalo Express. He was walking home from work, took a different route home, and he came across this commotion of this lady sitting up the top floor of a hotel. And he had his camera with him, and he caught her in free fall. And as a child, and a very young child at that, I remember 6 or 7, I remember that image standing out. And that book in particular on photojournalism really caught me. And it was the only book I kept revisiting as a child. So, yeah, that one photograph had a huge impact on me. But as I said, it's no surprise I do what I do. And I'm I'm a big lover of photojournalism, proper, good photographs. So that image had a huge impact on me.
Wow, yeah. I guess that's a strong image to witness as a 6-7-year-old as well, really.
Yeah, I got it. But it's the book in general too. The book is just fantastic, famous photographs from famous photographers of just real stories and real images. But that one has always stood out for me. You should Google it. It's quite an amazing image, and the backstory is bizarre. The funny thing is, she wasn't a divorcee. She wasn't married, but the image is called the Despondent Divorcee. That's what it's sort of known as. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll Google it. So then, how did you go from kind of like art college? Sorry, was it art school, art college? Is it?
Yeah.
How did you go from there to photographing weddings then?
I did loads of other jobs in between. The problem was I was academic too, and I sort of went through a whole sort of process of what am I going to do with my life, because I always thought you couldn't make money from art, but money never drove me. But to cut a long story short, I used to go out. I had a girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend, must have been 10, 15 years ago, and she used to hunt, which is a very controversial pursuit in the UK.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I used to follow her. She'd be out hunting, and I'd be out following on foot. And I used to go,
wow, you must be pretty quick. Are you pretty quick runner?
Yeah, I'm fit. I would be very fit for now, lad, yeah. And I remember I bought a, I think, was it a Canon? No, I forget the camera I bought. It was even older, back further. But I bought my first digital camera, and I started following the hunt with the camera. Right. And that's when I revisited photography. I always photographed when I was a child, but that's when this journey in life, going into weddings, started. So I've did an awful lot of hunt photography, and I got a lot of my work published in Horse and Hound in England and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Very, very controversial pursuit, and they don't like cameras. They hated cameras.
Really?
Which made it even more special for me, because you were getting into a world that didn't like cameras, and there was a trust I built up with them, and I really enjoyed it. But that's where I got my first wedding, believe it or not.
Right, okay, cool. A hunt, someone from the hunt, yeah.
Guy came up to me on horseback in the middle of a field and says, "Will you shoot my wedding?" I says, "No way, not in a million years. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that." And he kept at me, and here I am.
That's so cool. I love that. Someone on horseback came up and said, "Can you shoot my wedding?" I think that's such a great story to get into.
Yeah, no, it happened in the field, me and a pair of wellies, and I just didn't want to do it. I never wanted to go into that world, but here I am.
Oh, yeah. So what was that first wedding like? Did you know when you just turned up to the wedding, then you were just going to shoot it the way you wanted to? You didn't go through the motions of kind of like traditional wedding photography? No,
that was never going to be me. As we touched on it earlier, David's going to be David. He's going to do it his way, or that's it. But I've always been inspired by photojournalism, and I remember the night before the wedding, I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep a wink. And that's the only thing I remember from it. Other than that, when I got into it, it was fine. I look back in the photographs and yeah, they're rubbish.
But you'd say that if you just photographed the wedding last week, by the sounds of it, you'd say that anyway.
They wouldn't be as rubbish. Those were particularly rubbish. But we have to start somewhere. And I went in and did it solo. And the neck I had to do it. When you think back in it, doing your first wedding ever on your own and not knowing what's happening, it was crazy.
That is mad scary. And did the person who asked you to shoot their wedding, did he know that you were going to shoot it? Well, I guess he wanted you to shoot it in your way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He knew the way I photographed hunting and horse racing and stuff like that. He knew what he was buying into. He was buying into Crazy Dave and doing it his own way. And all my clients are like that. They all sort of get me. A lot of my clients would see the world the same way I do. I don't get the bridezillas. They just don't even come near me. They wouldn't even ring me or email me. It doesn't happen.
I guess, and that's cool, isn't it? And I guess a lot of that is because of the images that you show. And same with, to me to a certain extent as well. I show kind of lots of unflattering images of the couple. So people who want that picture perfect day are not going to come to me either.
No. It's your website is a filter. It's a very good filter. And the people that do book you and the organic bookings, which is my main type of booking, which is not from a referral, they are usually the best. They're booking you because of your photographs, nothing else, and that's wonderful. And it's
so true.
and an organic booking will give you a great couple, and you'll shoot good photographs on that day, and you'll be happy, and that's very important.
That's the most important thing, I think. It's the most important thing in life, and so important in business as well. I think that's so true about them loving your images. I mean, that was, I think for me, another reason why I never, I've never done a wedding fair, because I don't want to be chosen just because I'm at their venue and I shot at their venue, doing a wedding fair. I want people to look at everyone's images and find mine and just prefer mine, I think that's the way I've always wanted to do it.
I think it's more successful that way. I think I did a wedding fair once or twice before. And the last wedding fair I did was, I think about 2 years ago. I don't know why I did it. And I paid a lot of money to do it. And on the second day, I felt like going home. I says, oh, God. And I actually picked up one wedding out of it.
Right. Well, that's not that bad. That's one wedding.
It paid for itself. So it's not too bad. So, and it was a good wedding. They were cringing. The two girls that booked me, they were cringing at being at the wedding fair, and I was cringing being behind the table at the wedding.
Perfect fit.
It's not all perfect fit. We were all lost that day, but anyway, we found each other. Thank God.
That's cool. Yeah, because that's another thing about wedding fairs. I'd be really nervous about having to stand there and just talk to people all day. Weren't you really scared? No.
I was fed up, Alan. I was really fed up because I think wedding fairs, they just attract a certain type of client, and they're not my client. You'll get the bridezillas coming in. You'll get the bride with all her sisters and her mother coming. That's not my type of bride. My type of bride thinks for herself, does her own thing, doesn't get steered by the family, and she doesn't go to wedding fairs. But it's good to go. It's good to go because it gives you an insight into the other side of the wedding industry, and it's a part of the wedding world I don't want to be part of. So it's you learn everything you do. You learn from, so it's fine.
That's so true. You mentioned just earlier, and I was going to ask you about it as well. There's a real realness to your images. Realness. I should be able to come up with a better word than realness, but you know what I mean. It's real, authentic documentary. Your work, and just as an example of it, and you mentioned it yourselves, that you do capture quite a lot of people smoking, which I think is really cool. But in just to say, in my experience, I would want to capture that as well. But a lot of my brides literally tell me, they don't want photos of them smoking. So do you never kind of get that?
It's funny. I always have a chat. I never meet people anymore before a wedding, I never really did. And I sort of have a chat with a bride, maybe on a phone before she books me, and we'll go over a few things. I'll say a few things just to sort of test the water. And if she reacts badly to it, she's probably not my client. So they're well used to. I make sure they know what they're getting themselves into before they book me. I'm very honest, Alan. And that's what I said to you at the start of the podcast. Honesty all the time, 100%. Why lie to somebody before they book you just to get the booking? Tell them the truth. And I get brides go, I love your smoking shots. Well, fantastic. And it's on those phone calls. I never ever push the booking. I never do the hard sell. I let them go away and let them book me for themselves. Let them make the decision. It's their decision. It's not mine. So
that's proper cool.
Yeah,
that's proper cool. Have you ever turned away any kind of potential business, because you thought they're not a good fit?
Yeah, of course I have. You knew I'd say that, didn't you?
Well, I gotta ask. Yeah.
There was one in particular I remember. He actually got through the net a little bit. It was a groom a couple of years ago, and he actually paid his deposit. And he came back to me. Man, he was like a bridezilla. The questions he was asking, and he got a shock. I just said to him, "Look, I'll just send you your deposit back. We're not a good fit, and there's no point, Alan, in going down that road with somebody." I just knew it wasn't a good fit. His questions were unbelievable, and
like what kind of thing?
I can't remember. I just remember it was like he was like the worst bridezilla ever, and he was the groom. And I said, "This is not going to work." And I think he was on about loads of pose pictures here, there, and everywhere. Right. And it just wasn't me. But he nearly fell over when I said, "I'm going to give you a deposit back," because you've got to remember there's one thing which is really important to me. If I shot that wedding and sort of did what he wanted to do, and say he wasn't happy after it was over, and there's no turning back once a wedding is shot. I'm a big believer that bad news travels fast. So if I went ahead and booked that and he didn't like his pictures, well, he badmouthed me. So what's the point of doing it? I want people to say good things about me afterwards. And by giving a deposit back like that, it was a good move.
I'm sure it is, because a lot of people, they get warning signs beforehand, but they still always, go through with the booking because they want the money, and then they regret it afterwards. They do. So I think it's a good approach.
No, definitely. It's not about the money, Alan. It never was. No. It's a bonus to be paid for doing something I absolutely adore. No, it's not about the money, and that's why I'm not afraid. And it's funny, when I gave him back his deposit, I felt great.
That's cool.
Absolutely wonderful, and that's good. If that feeling is good, and if you do get the heebie-jeebies about somebody, you're better off walking away.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned about how you wanted like maybe some more pose photos and things. I know your approach just seems to be really documentary. Do you still do some couple shots or group photos, or do you not at all? Are you totally pure?
I'm very, very pure. At the same time, the one thing about me, if I was getting married tomorrow, would I want my family shot taken? Of course I would. I pretty much value family history. Family history is really, really important. Who is there on the day? Because do you know what? In 30 years' time, they may not be with us. So I always do 3 group shots. I do a bridal party and the 2 immediate families. I have them done pretty much in 5 minutes flat. We don't go anywhere. I'm just there to record who was there on the day, because you can't always guarantee to get everyone in a documentary setting. So that's why I do that. And then I do about 5 minutes with a couple, but we don't go anywhere either. I could end up in an underground car park where there's nice light or something, but we don't go anywhere. I'm not into this. Where are you going for photographs? Well, we're going nowhere. It's a wedding, and photography is never going to dominate it as long as I'm shooting the wedding. Definitely
that's
not.
Cool. I totally agree with that. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. Okay, Dave, let's change tack slightly. What would be your last meal on death row? And I'm guessing it wouldn't be a McDonald's.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be a curry from some curry house in Birmingham.
In Birmingham, I'm from Birmingham originally.
Are you? Well, I have a friend over in Birmingham, and every time I go over, there used to be some place we used to go to, and it looked really grimy, but it was great. It was called Cushy. I don't know where it is, but anyway, that was the easiest question ever. I thought I'd have to think about that. No,
that was instant. That was great.
Listen here, me and curries. My God, for an Irishman to love really hot and spicy curries, it's very strange. But anyway, easy question. That's a new one in your. That's a new question in your repertoire, is it not? That's a new one. I was getting ready for all the old faithfuls that are coming through. No, that's a new one. Okay.
I'm sure there'll be some old faithfuls as well. What curry would it be? Do you have a favorite curry?
No, I don't care.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's funny.
You can hand me anything and I'd eat it. I don't care. I really don't care.
Oh, that's cool. I see my parents like every Wednesday. Well, before lockdown, I can't now, but and my mum makes me a chicken and mushroom vindaloo every Wednesday. I absolutely love it. It's awesome. Yeah.
And is that vindaloo as hot as the vindaloo on the streets of Birmingham?
Well, probably not. No, probably not. But it's still hot. It's still hot.
It's vindaloo in Ireland. It's not hot. It's not hot at all.
Oh, is it not really? No. Oh.
No, they have to be careful here, not to run the customers away.
Do you know, I've only been to Ireland a few times, and I've only ever been to Dublin. I need to visit more of Ireland. I really want to. I do really want to.
Yeah. You should.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Oh, but before we go on to that, do you know that Dublin's like the biggest city in Europe now, isn't it? Because
For
it keeps
what?
doubling, it keeps doubling and doubling.
Go again?
It keeps
I'm
doubling
lost.
and doubling.
I'm still lost. I might. God, I feel stupid now. Is there a joke I missed?
Oh, I just love that one, man. It's a good one. It's a good one. Right. Okay. Has there been a book that you've read that's had a lasting impact on you in some way? Could it be, it could be fiction or non-fiction?
Oh, yes. One recently.
Okay,
My
cool.
God. Ben McIntyre. I'm big into the Cold War history at the moment,
Right.
Cold War politics, and God, even I'm getting goosebumps even telling you about it. Ben McIntyre wrote a book on a Russian spy that defected to England, and his name was Oleg Gordievsky. And it was a fantastic story about him spying for the English in Russia, in the Soviet Union, sorry, and his escape out of the Soviet Union when they rumbled him as a spy, and how he was brought back to England. And he's still alive and living in England today.
Yeah, wow.
Out of 10, the book must have been, I'll rate it 10. It blew me away. I read a lot. I read an awful lot.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
It has to be fact. I won't read fiction. I tried fiction just for the sake of it about a year ago, and I had to throw the book away. So I can't do this. So I do an awful lot of reading of politics, Northern Ireland troubles, but at the moment, a complete addiction of the Cold War.
That's interesting. You don't like fiction, then. I wonder if that kind of ties into the how documentary you are at weddings as well. I don't know. It's similar, I guess.
It's a good point. Yeah, I like everything to be real. Everything. Yeah, fiction to me is just doesn't work. Even movies and stuff like that doesn't work. Doesn't work for me. Never has.
All right, okay.
I have tried. Don't worry, I have tried. But yeah, and the book I'm reading at the moment again is by Ben McIntyre, and it's on Kim Philby, another spy, except he defected to Russia.
Oh, right. Wow. So, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Quite a few of your captures show, a real sense of movement. Maybe with a slower shutter speed. I don't know. I mean, a lot of photographers don't show them. Can you any tips on those? Or why you show quite a lot of those?
Why do I take them?
Oh, yeah. I just think a lot. Yeah, a lot of photographers don't take those or don't show them, and I think it's very different and something that's quite unique to your work, and I think it's really cool. So yeah, I just wondered what your thoughts are.
They're risky shots, Alan, and there's one thing I always find myself doing at a wedding. Sometimes I can find myself about to click the shutter, and I sort of go in my head, and I do this quite a lot. I really do, and I ask myself, "Hang on, Dave, stop. This picture is going to look like everybody else's wedding photo. Will another wedding photographer take this shot?" And I go in my head, yeah, and I walk away.
That's cool.
I love slow shutter. You don't do too much of it. It's really risky, but I love taking risks. And yeah, bride and groom mightn't get it, but I love it. I absolutely love it. It keeps me happy. It's creative, and it's what I do. A lot of my images would be gritty and grainy and stuff like that, but it's just who I am. Maybe it's just the influence of street photography. It's as I said, the street photographer becomes a wedding photographer for a day. That's right, and that's why I do it. But I do it because I love it, and because I think it's different. But I don't set out to be different. It's just me. At the end of the day,
cool.
It's just me. That's what I love.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it's something that you enjoy. And as you say, it's you. And so many wedding photographers are just doing it, as a business. And, in that it comes across in your work if you're not enjoying it, I think.
Yeah, it definitely would. Yeah, it's part of the evolution of who I am as a person, as a photographer. I'm not happy unless I evolve. I don't know what I'll be doing next year. I'll be out of practice next year. That's just going to happen. That's what I'm fearful of. How to work my camera.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it?
But I take pictures because that's who I am, and I take pictures the way I want to because that's what makes me happy. And at the end of the day, Alan, I take pictures for fun. And I take wedding photographs for fun. And that's it. And if people like what I do, happy days.
That's proper cool. So if you weren't a wedding photographer, what would you be doing? Would you still be doing something with photography, or would it be totally different?
could have been a teacher.
Okay, yeah, cool.
I could have been a teacher. I have a degree in classical studies and geography, so I could have gone that route. I tried that for a little bit. I couldn't stand the staff room politics. But that'd be typical me. I sort of go, oh God Almighty. I was a bit of a Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams type of teacher. I didn't like being called sir, stuff like that. So I'd like kids to call me by my Christian name, but I didn't fit into that world. It definitely wasn't me, but you probably can tell that from talking to me. I'm a bit of a free spirit.
How long did you do that for?
On and off. I subbed for a while, and then I was an art teacher for a while because I came out of art college as well. It just didn't rock my boat. I just felt that you were under the watchful eye of other teachers and the headmaster and stuff like that, and that's not me. I like doing things my own way.
What about teaching photography? Have you ever done that? Would you?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I see everyone's getting into these. What are these things they're all doing? They're all doing this online courses and stuff, and workshops. That's the word I'm looking for. You'll never see me do a workshop. Ever.
No, not do one or attend one or both.
No. I've no interest in attending them, or because you have to meet in a group, and I'd hate that whole situation. I'd run. Oh God, 50 photographers in one room. I'd be gone.
Oh man, yeah, because I went to Doc Day it was this year in Dublin, and I thought maybe I'd meet you there, but you weren't there. Were you not fancy it? No.
No, I think Kevin tried to get me there. I told him the same thing. Not a chance. It's just I'd be uncomfortable, Alan. It's just me. It's me. If I have to go to a wedding, I've got to go to a wedding. It's booked in. You have to commit to that. But going to something like a conference or a workshop, oh God, oh no. And that's no insult to anybody doing a workshop or anything. It's just not me. I'm not wired that way, and I think I'd prefer to be at home reading a book with a cup of coffee all day long, going, "Whew, thank God I missed that."
I get that appeal as well. I get it as well. I get it. A lot of your work is black.
Why do you go then? Why do you go if you feel uncomfortable?
I do so many things where I feel uncomfortable. I don't know. I mean, there are good, obviously good sides to it as well. And when I get nervous about it, even if I'm not speaking, I get really nervous. But then I end up enjoying it, as well. So I don't
okay,
know.
well then the end result is enjoyment. Yeah, I suppose I never do anything I really don't want to do. I can be quite stubborn that way, because what's the point of putting yourself into an uncomfortable situation when you can actually avoid it? So. Yeah,
I get that.
So I'm the person
I do.
Who doesn't mind going. Yeah, there's a fear of people sometimes with me, but that's just me.
I just think it's so interesting, especially when each Saturday you're being surrounded by like 100, 150 people. It's you're constantly putting yourself through it. So you're being brave though as well each weekend, especially if you're not wanting to.
Yeah, but I can hide behind the camera, can't I? Ask me to go to a wedding as a guest. Oh my God. Oh. Even before I was a wedding photographer, I couldn't even do that. Oh, man,
really? No.
No. Even the thoughts of it. I've done the odd one in the last 5 years, and I go, oh no, this is not for me. I suppose a wedding photographer, it's not something you want to do anymore. But it was never for me. No. So yeah, I'd rather miss it. I think I was invited to a wedding once, and I was booked for another wedding on the day, and I was so happy.
I just find it so interesting because talking to we've never spoken, and you're speaking so naturally to me now, and it is you speak so eloquently as well, and I don't get why you're not like a social hound and partying each weekend. You just seem really good at it.
Yeah, it's funny. We were watching TV the other night. There was something on. There was some. Oh yeah, I think you're getting it over in England too. Is it called Ordinary People or something? It's some racy Irish drama that's on at the moment.
Oh yeah, I started to read the novel actually a few months ago, so I've read half the novel, but I've not watched the program yet. No, is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But there was a scene on it, and there was some house party on. They were all in Trinity College in Dublin, and University. There were a house party, and I never went to house parties when I was in college. I couldn't stand them.
Oh,
so right. That's just me again. It's just me. But when I do go into a wedding, I do often end up talking. I always end up talking to the older generation. I gravitate to them. I think there's less bullshit with them, and they tell you old stories. So, yeah. Just give me a wedding to work at, but don't send me to a wedding as a guest.
Okay. That's cool. A lot of your work is black and white, obviously a lot of color as well, but you do show a lot of black and white images. How do you personally decide which image you like in black and white? Do you have a methodology for that, or is it just a feeling? Or
it's called mood, Alan.
Yeah.
What mood is Dave in today? It's totally mood. I tell you what I did recently, and it's unusual for me to do, is to mix black and white and color in the odd blog. I don't like doing that. I don't like seeing the two of them beside each other. It's like wearing a really good suit with really bad shoes. It's
so normally when you blog, then is it normally just pure black and white, or it'll be pure color?
Yeah, it's more black and white, and the blog, they're my selection. That's it. That's the way I saw the wedding. It's nothing to do with the bride and groom. It's just my mood. And winter weddings, particularly, I think sometimes end up in black and white. But yeah, it's just my mood. How am I feeling today? What does this look like? Or I get a feel for a wedding if it's. I don't know. I just love black and white. I see in black and white. I actually see in black and white at a wedding. Always do.
Really? Very graphic. That's cool.
It's the way I see the world.
Cool, man. I guess for the clients who come to you as well, they must love black and white as well. With you showing so much, it's kind of a win-win again.
Yeah, I get a good few albums go fully black and white, which is great. It's fantastic to know that some people just go ahead, Dave, and do that and design it first. And I'd have full input into the wedding albums from the start. And more times than not, they might change one or two pictures, but it's a great process. But yeah, black and white, and the client that loves it, happy days.
Yeah, cool. What would be your top? Here's a classic, I've asked this before, but it's always very interesting.
Right, okay.
No, but yeah, what would be your top tips to help someone get better at the documentary side of wedding photography?
Well, I touched on it already. Take pictures for fun. Do that for starters, definitely. I think that's one of the most important things that anyone could do. This trying to meet the demands of the wedding industry or the expectations of the wedding industry and what's perceived as a wedding photograph, or what you think the couples might want. I go into a wedding and I have my own voice, and it may not be commercially popular, but that's what I do. And I think being very single-minded is really, really important. Another thing I would do is I do a lot of practice on the street. I practice street photography all the time. It is a fantastic place to operate.
Oh, cool. I've never done it, so I've never done it.
I adore it. And
do you do that all over in cities? And also, I guess it has to be in the cities. What a silly question. You don't do street photography in the fields, do you?
Oh, no, but you can I just adore it. I adore the whole thing of, you don't know what's around the next corner and stuff like that. So I practice a lot on the streets. I don't show a lot of my street photography work, but it's a great place to practice, to be a documentary wedding photographer.
Again, I just find that slightly strange again, in that I would be so scared to do street photography, and yet we've talked about your a bit of the fears that you have and whatnot, and yet you're doing the street photography, which is like it's really brave again.
Yeah. There's a bit of a Bruce Gilden in me, believe it or not. There's a little bit of it in me. I'm not fearful of the streets. I could walk down a really, really dangerous street that wouldn't faze me at all. I'm good at talking my way out of trouble. I'm good at dissipating anger. It's something I've always been good at. I can win people over if they're angry. I can win them over very, very quickly in a very nice way. But I adore street photography. It's a great place to practice. Documentary photography, how to be good at it? Travel light. Definitely travel light. I bring all gear with me. I really travel light. So I don't have.
What's your go-to kind of setup? What do you?
Do we have to talk about cameras?
Well, no, I hardly ever do I? But no, you just touched upon it. Some people are interested. Yeah.
Let's just say they're two 12-year-old bodies, two Canon.
Cool.
Canon. I have no interest in camera gear. Zero interest. So much so that I tape up all the logos on my cameras to stop conversations at weddings where our lads come up and go, "Oh, do you like Canon or do you like Nikon?" And if he doesn't see a logo on your camera, that conversation doesn't happen, which is quite good.
Nice.
I look at art. I look at art a lot. I think that's important for people if they want to get inspired. I look different places for inspiration. Degas, Are you familiar with his work? He's
I'm
from
not
the
much.
1870s.
Oh, no.
French ballerinas. I love all his stuff, and I follow street photographers, Elliot Irwitt, Bruce Gilden, and one thing I've done recently, which you'll be quite surprised to hear, and it's only recent I've done this, I've stopped following loads and loads of wedding photographers
Right.
on Instagram and on Facebook, and that was a little hint from Jeff Ascoff, and it was the best. It was the best thing I ever did, and I've done that I think in the last 6 weeks. And I don't see any wedding photography coming up in my feeds anymore. And it's really, really good. And the only wedding photographer, sorry, Alan?
I was just going to say, good in what way is that being good for you? Like just for your kind of your mental health or like your inspiration?
Yes. Because as I said to you at the start of the podcast, I feel crap about myself a lot of the time. I look at my own work and I question it. I scratch my head. And then you see everybody else putting up all these feeds of how great they are and how awesome this wedding was. And I see all these pictures and you go, oh crap, I might do the wrong thing. And it doesn't help the mental health. I totally agree with you. And the only wedding photographer I have remained to follow is Jeff Ascoff.
Oh, really? Wow. Right. Okay.
And he has always been my favorite wedding photographer. Way back. You know the way sometimes you have a favorite wedding photographer and you go off them and you find somebody else and you go on to them and you go, I love what they do. I have never, ever moved off Jeff Ascoff, and his attitude to photography. I think he's wonderful.
That's cool. I went on his workshop a few years ago. I don't know, early on, about 5-6 years ago. Have you ever been on? No, you've not been in a workshop.
No. I'd love to go to one of his workshops, but I won't go because it's just not me. I don't.
What if he did an online workshop? There you go.
No. I love it. I just love his attitude to photography. I love his attitude to life. Some people might disagree with me, but we're very similar people in a way. But he's always been my number one. And he did mention recently about stop following other wedding photographers. Took his advice, and it's the best thing I've done in the last 6 weeks.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's cool, man. Cool.
Is it?
Well, obviously, I totally understand it. I totally understand it, and I still get that kind of roller coaster type thing as well when you see other people's work, and it makes you kind of question your own. And I'd love to have.
Good. No, it's not good for the mental health. It's just not. I had to stop it. It was wrecking my head, and all of a sudden you find yourself showing your sister, oh, what do you think? Because she's arty. What do you think of this guy's work? This guy's work. Look, it's crazy. You got to stop somewhere and just follow street photographers. That's what I do right now. That's it.
Cool. Well, that's cool, man. Cool. So looking back at life or business or both, are there things you would have done differently at all?
You mean, do I have any regrets?
Yeah, it's a long way of saying that.
That's one of your questions. That's one of your questions.
I've reworded it just for you.
I know. I saw it coming. No, there's no. What's the point of regretting? What's the point in looking back? I've made loads of mistakes on the way. I'll make loads of mistakes in the future, and as long as I learn from them, and as long as I evolve, and that's the most important thing for me. As long as I evolve as a person and as a photographer, I'm happy. Evolution, I might be going backwards, but as long as I'm evolving, I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
That's cool. I think that's a great attitude, man. I think I was going to ask you this as well, but I think I saw that you only shoot solo, don't you? You don't have any second photographers.
Not in a million years. I'll tell you a little story.
Cool.
Last year, I had a friend, and we shot together as a sort of an experiment. So I was the main shooter and he was second. I've never done it before. Mm-hmm. It's not for me.
Really?
It's not for me. And I feel, what's the second photographer going to get that you aren't going to get? Because at the end of the day, I shoot like a second anyway.
In what way? What do you mean?
Well, everything is on the cuff, candid. Usually second photographers get all that lovely stuff, all the stuff that doesn't involve all the posing and all that sort of stuff. And they get all the stuff that the main photographer doesn't usually get. Well, I shoot like a second photographer, so I didn't see an advantage in it. So, no, it's not for me. I love being on my own. I don't even like a videographer around. Not that I hate them or anything. I just work so much better when I'm on my own at a wedding. It's just like I get into this zone, this mental zone. And if there's no videographer there, I'm even happier. But I rarely see videographers.
Yeah, do you not
One in
very
every
often?
10. No, one in every 10 weddings I'll see one, and I deal with it now. 10 years ago, I used to grumble on and go, "Arr," they used to drive me mad. Now I accept it all. They're part of the story. So what? That's it.
That's so true. Yeah, I'm same as you. I only ever shoot solo as well. It's just the way I like to do it. But yeah, it's just interesting how people work differently. I always find that really interesting. What does it mean to be successful to you then?
What's success, Alan?
Yeah, I know, but that's exactly what I find interesting. What is success? What is
Success is to me waking up in the morning and going downstairs before the kids get up and having a coffee on my own. That's success. No, it's a word that I never think about. So I don't aspire to be anything, or I don't aspire to succeed at this, that, and the other. So what does success mean to me? I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm just happy with really, really simple things. I don't really care for much, and I suppose maybe success for me is going out at nighttime on my mountain bike and flying down some hill at 30 miles an hour. That's success. I'm happy with that. But
cool.
As far as photography and business and making money, no, definitely not.
So I just think, honestly, that's awesome. I really do. And for me, I just wanted to be happy, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah,
Not
I think
hurting
people
anyone,
sometimes
just being happy.
I think in the world we work in, a lot of people, there are a lot of big egos out there, and they're like bragging about how many weddings they're shooting a year and all that sort of stuff. And look at how great I am and how successful. That's not me. Oh my God, that's not me. It's success to me maybe is just being me and being quiet and just doing my own thing and being happy. That's it. Nothing else.
That's awesome. I think that's a perfect answer, man. I do. I really do. I just think that's so proper cool, man. It's awesome. What was I going to say? Yeah. Do you? But by the way, because I've just got one here, and I ask this anyway normally, but I want to ask it now because
canapes.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm highlighting over canapes. Yeah.
Back off. Are you serious? You're not serious, are you?
I'm gonna
you know what? If you didn't ask me that question, I'd hate you. I need that question. I'm ready for it.
I'm going to ask you, do you eat the canapes?
Jesus. I am actually prepared for this one. As a side, I've raced push bikes all my life. Most of my life I've raced. I've road raced and stuff like that. So I'd be very, very, very sort of into bicycles. So I actually go into a wedding with energy gels and electrolyte tablets.
All right. Okay, cool.
And no, I don't eat the canapes. I live on all these carbo fuels and stuff like this. I'm just, you picture a cyclist going into a race and his back pockets are full of all this stuff you buy in sport shops. Well, that's me going into a wedding.
That's cool. It's like a proper athlete going into, proper. That's cool, man.
You have to. You've got to go into a wedding like that. I got dehydrated there at a wedding recently, and I forgot to drink enough, and it was quite dangerously dehydrated I was. So no, you've got to fuel up and stuff like that. You go back to your question of how do I become a good documentary photographer, improve? Keep eating, keep drinking, because I'll tell you one thing, when you hit that wall, it's hard to come back from it, and you won't take good photographs. So
that's so true. Yeah, that's really good advice as well. What do you find the most challenging aspect of what we do then? Was wedding photography as a whole? It could be something to do with shooting or business, just the overall thing of what we do. What do you think is the most challenging aspect?
The wedding industry. That's simple. The wedding industry, it drives me bananas. I have no interest in the wedding industry. I adore what I do. Absolutely adore what I do, because I'm working with the right people that give me the freedom to do what I want. But you'll walk into some hotel and you'll get some wedding planner in the hotel that's so used to doing things by, this is the way we do it. This is the way we've been doing it for the last 10 years. And they don't get what I'm up to. Oh, you're the photographer. Oh, this is the best place for photographs. All that sort of stuff. I don't know. I find the wedding industry, and I said it in my best of blog, Saccharine Sweet, and it really, really grates on me at times. It's not that I adore what I do, as I said to you, but the wedding industry. And I think that's why I'm quite happy at the moment with the coronavirus. I'm getting a break from the wedding industry, because it just really, really annoys me sometimes. I find it very fake, Alan, extremely fake. You'll see a wedding planner sometimes all over a bride and gushing all over. Oh, you're lovely. And then you can hear her outside in the hallway bitching about her.
Oh,
And
man,
you've seen stuff like that. We've all seen stuff like that. Well, I've seen it.
Mhm.
And I sort of go, how can you be like that? It's just so fake. And I get very sad when I see that happening, extremely sad. So, yeah, that's something that really, what was the question again?
Yeah, and what was the most challenging aspect of it all?
Yeah,
really?
yeah, I find that challenging. It's funny these days. I'm experienced now at dodging these wedding planners and people with knives to cut the cake and stuff. But I've often been asked lately, "Oh, are you the wedding photographer?" I go, no. And I'd walk on, and they'd be wondering what the hell. So I do that, and I do it in a nice way. They get confused. They assume you're the wedding photographer, and you tell them you're not. And then you can go off and do what you want. That's great. But yeah, that's the thing that really, and it does really, really annoy me on a scale of 1 to 10. The wedding industry really, really bothers me. It's all that sort of saccharine sweet wedding fairs and smiles, and you know yourself what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely. It's mad, isn't it? That is our kind of surroundings, but yeah, don't know how.
Do you not find it a bit cheesy sometimes?
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. There's so much cheese, and the trend things with people wanting those same material objects like bird cages and stuff. And I don't get why people want their weddings to look like other people.
What's the latest trend? What is the latest trend?
I know. Yeah, I don't know, but. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Dave. This has flown by. It's been like an hour already, which is awesome. I said one more question. So I'm quite interesting then, really, because no, I'm not interesting. I mean, I'm quite interested in terms of your marketing. Then, how are you getting your weddings? You're not that keen on the wedding industry, which I totally get, and I'm like you. You're not showing many, flattering images and things. How are you getting your couples? Do you think? How are you getting most of your kind of bookings?
I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I'm really brutal at all this promotion stuff. If I wasn't a wedding photographer, I wouldn't be on Facebook. I wouldn't be on Instagram. I dread the whole thing. So I try and let my photographs do the talking for me. If they like it, book me. If you don't like it, don't book me. And there's one thing I'll never do, and I said that to you already, I'll never do the hard sell. Oh, book me now and I'll give you 10% off and all this sort of stuff. So
right.
It's not going to happen. So I get a certain clientele that come to me. I don't get much word of mouth lately. Word of mouth has died off a little bit, which is strange. But I'm looking at the last 2 years, I got a barrage of barristers booking me, which was mad. And none of them had come from the other. None of them were word of mouth. But when I went asking, they all knew each other, which was funny because it's such a tiny little world. So I got you. The last 2 years, the amount of barristers I got was unbelievable. And then I get an awful lot of artistic people too that sort of get me, crazy artistic people that just go, oh yeah, do whatever you want. And then I get people that just don't want their photograph taken. And they're fantastic to work with. But no, I don't. I don't market myself. Definitely not. I just go, let the photographs do it, and hopefully an organic booking will come out of it. And as I said, they're always the best. Always. I think the marketing, some people market themselves and they see the whole industry as a popularity contest of trying to look cool and hip and trendy. Well, I'm certainly too old for all that. And I'm not going to be doing, what are these videos they do on Instagram? Are they called Insta Stories? I don't know what they're called. But no. Loads of photographers do all that sort of stuff. I can't do that stuff. I'm too old anyway. I'm 50. It's crazy stuff.
That's not old, man. It's not old. It's not old.
I know, I'm still cycling my bike and I feel like a 21-year-old. Don't get me wrong, but I think the whole bullshit of the marketing bullshit is something I can't do. It's like my photographs. My photographs, they're not fake, and the whole marketing thing can be very fake. So I can't really go down that road. So book me if you like my photographs, and book someone else if you don't like them.
Perfect. That's great. That should be a tagline on your homepage. It could be your tagline.
I wouldn't be afraid to say that. No, you wouldn't see my contract. You'd laugh at my contract if you saw it.
Oh, really?
All the photographs I don't take. Yeah, I don't do this. I don't take shoes. I don't take the bookcase and the dress hanging up. You'd laugh.
Wow, really? Wow, cool. Yeah. Man, that's literally in your contract.
It's about being honest, Alan. It's about
Yeah.
being honest. And that's all I can be, is honest.
That's so cool,
Honest,
man.
honest photos and honest Dave. That's all I can do.
I think that's a great way to end it. That's perfect. Oh man, thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you for your time, your openness, your honesty. I just found that so interesting. It was awesome talking to you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. You didn't ask half those questions I was ready for. Loads of them.
I'm going to make it different, man. I'm going to make it different.
I'm glad, but I did. I was here, lad. Though I had all the old ones coming on. I said, yeah, I'll get that one there now. Yeah. Anyway, brilliant. I enjoyed talking to you, Alan. Thank you for calling.
Oh no, thank you for talking to me. It's brilliant. Anyone listening to this, head to thisreportage.com. I'll put loads of examples of David's work, a link to his website. You wrote a This Is How piece for us a while ago now, which was great.
I did.
That blackboard image, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I do love that. There's an image I love. I actually love that.
Yeah,
I've never started that. It's real. It's actually a real image. I love it. I do like that.
Yeah.
Come here, can I ask you one favor? Can I ask you one favor before you go?
Okay, you can. Yeah. Go.
You know the way you always say when you post these podcasts, you go, the wonderful John Murphy or the Fab. Just call me David. Don't call me Fab. I'll cringe.
Okay, man. Okay. Just David.
Don't do that. Just go David Ryan Photographer. If you are going to use it, but yeah. If you go Fab, I'll get on to you. I go, no, change that. I don't want to be called Fab. I mean, I'm a bit humble, Alan. I don't see myself as fab or wonderful or,
But you are. But you, man, you're so good though. You've won so many awards. Your work's brilliant. It's going to be conspicuous if I just say David.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not me, Alan. You always do that. I know you mean well, and I mean well by saying it. I don't mean to be rude. I sort of go, I don't want to see my name beside the Fab David Ryan, because you know what? I'm not fab.
But you so are. But I'm in a quandary now, because I think you are fab, and now you've said don't put fab. And then will I be rude if I do say fab now? And then will I be rude if I don't say
it? Take it from me. You'll insult me if you say fab, because I've given you the warning now.
Okay.
It's just me. I like to, as I said, I like to hide away under a little rock sometimes. And yeah, I'm quite happy to talk to you. And I think it went okay. And I think my nerves dissipated and stuff like that. But yeah, Alan Law, don't call me fab or wonderful or anything. because I'm not.
But you are. Just because you may not think it doesn't mean you're not.
Come on, Jesus, let's get real. And even you sort of talked about the awards and stuff like that. You're the only website I enter stuff into, but I sort of see the awards, and I used to promote. I think when I won one or two before, I put them on my Facebook page. Now I don't do it because I sort of go, oh no, I can't do that, because I can't market myself like that. I don't want to sort of go, oh look at me, I won an award. So I stopped doing it.
Oh man, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, but you've got complete weirdo. I'm going to use that as your little audio snippet as a preview.
No, Alan, it killed me. It actually killed me to put those. I think I promoted one or two awards, and it killed me to do it. Oh man, no, it wasn't me.
You got to shout about it, show. It's an achievement, though. Okay.
It is, but I'll quietly accept it.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's a dignity. That is cool.
So anyway, there you go. You know what to say about.
Okay, awesome. Anybody who's listening, maybe while cycling or running, do head to thisisreportage.com and you'll see David's work. And as I say, links to his website and that This Is How post. And man, thank you so much again. And hopefully I'll get to meet you in the flesh one day. You never know. That would be awesome.
At a conference, maybe, Alan?
Yeah, probably not likely, is it? But you never know. Some other situation, you never know.
No, it won't. Listen, Alan, thank you for calling, and it was lovely talking to you, okay?
Angie, man, stay safe.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the 31st episode of the This Is Reportage podcast. Dave was really great to talk to. Really, really interesting, I thought. Hope you enjoyed it too. Head to thisisreportage.com to see more examples of his work and a link to the This Is How piece he wrote for us, explaining exactly how he captured a specific image. We also have lots more episodes of the podcast already released with photographers such as Frank Boutonnet, Rocio Vega, Sam Docker, Alison Bounce, and many more. And if you're not yet a member of TIR, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 Reportage Award and 18 Story Award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, exclusive discounts, and the recent huge addition to membership, exclusive video content. There's already over 8 hours worth of videos to watch where some of the world's best photographers share their tips, thoughts, and experience to make you a better photographer. New videos will also be added regularly. No poses, nothing staged. This is Reportage. And this is bye for now.